live. We'll see how this goes. I had to reread it. I haven't reread this thing since, like, I picked it up. So I could do this.
I've got my digital copy ready.
Oh, I've... Old school, I guess. So what's up, anyone in live chat? What's up, what's up? If for some reason you can't hear me, or you hear me twice, or if there's anything going on, with that, just let me know.
I pulled up the actual stream in another window, and so you're talking and the stream's talking at the same time, and it's just too much.
I have,
But
yeah,
it's the only way I can like keep up with the chat.
I know, so I have Streamlabs OBS up on one monitor, and I have Google Hangouts in the background, but then I have my live dashboard up in front of me. There is, hey Rangers, what's up? Yeah, I gotta do something and make it so where Chris shows up too.
If I talk, I think I show up, right?
I don't know, I have to just click.
The world's not missing anything if my face stays small. I promise you that.
I'll just have to go back and forth and just do it old school. Is this old school, actually? Clicking back and forth. What's up, guys? What's up, guys in chat? How are you doing? This was a silly thing that I had a drink or two too much last night, I guess, and was like, hey, anyone want to talk about Shatter Grid? And that's kind of where it came from. This awesome guy right here. Hey guys, oh my goodness, hey to everyone in chat. Welcome. Welcome, yeah, well it says Hangouts auto switches, but unfortunately I have like, I have capturing and I have a lot of really weird, stuff going on.
The special tools you can get on YouTube Hangouts or whatever, and so you can push 8 billion different buttons to do 8 billion different things, but unless you're actually like watching the stream yourself, you have no idea what they do. So I don't like streaming or controlling the stream anyways.
Okay, I was seeing if it switched over, and I don't think it did while you were talking, Chris.
It does. I watched the stream, and when I've talked before, it pops up.
But I'm watching the... Alright. We're gonna leave it at this.
It's not a big deal. You're the main draw. I'm just a guest.
Nah. Everyone say hi to Chris. Hi, Chris. It's gonna be fun. So, we've just been talking a lot about like PMC lately and craziness.
Who in the chat's read through 29 so far?
I hope a lot of you, or if not, you're gonna find out exactly what happened. Why don't we just get Chris all the time?
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
He's just chilling. Are you supposed to be sleeping right now?
No. Kiddo's asleep. He choked during lunch, so I almost had a heart attack, but...
Oh no. Oh no.
I was really excited to eat his cheese and bread. So, whatever.
Alright, well, do you want to start dissecting and diving in to this gorgeousness? I don't want to, like, just, you know, like, completely jump the gun on that one, but this, oh, now I have to turn it. 1 second.
Easily one of the best drawn comics, or I should say issues in the entire run of these comics so far. Danielle just knocked it out of the park, and that 2-page spread.
Oh my goodness, yes. Just seeing it's kind of like you have hope after reading this. You know, like you're like, okay, I think you got the plan. They got Ninjor. I think, yeah, 30 is gonna be hype. I'm just saying, I don't feel like I'm focused very well, but maybe that's just me. Yeah. So usually I started with it. They started with this though. They showed us 2 Rangers, in I guess Draken's Temple World area. Yeah. So we have Kelsey, which is cool because we have 2 Rangers that survived. TJ is surviving, but the rest of his team, we have TJ and Andros. R.I.P. everyone else. R.I.P.
I do want to throw this out there real quick though. There's a lot of cells in that very first panel for only two people. I'm just saying.
That's
Like
it.
there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. There's 12 cells in that first panel, and only two of them are full.
Yeah. Wait, cell. Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm talking like the very first panel.
Oh,
Like
I
you
thought
see
you meant
two
cells
of
like
them.
prison cells. I was thinking
No,
cells
no.
like in.
Well, like yeah, prison cells. But
I'm intrigued to see who else is in them.
and then if we go a little bit further, obviously when Andros crashes into the command center, he does say where he's keeping the survivors, implying that there's obviously more than one. We know there's two, but we don't know what happened to a
A
lot of these
lot.
Rangers off panel. We see them lose their powers. Very few do we actually get to see like run through with a sword or something.
Yeah,
So
few.
I'm curious if one, if there are more survivors, and two, which one survived.
Yeah, and who? I mean, because the samurai rangers, Lauren escaped, but I mean the rest of them.
Well, if they're gone, stuff happens.
Maybe they, maybe they're all in there just waiting. Because I would love to see if for somehow Doc K and Grace could like get other powers back almost. Maybe with the help of Ninjor to where like they rescue TJ and they can just throw him a Morpher and just have him like morph right there and suit up. That would definitely be a way to take everything down.
TJ's the end all.
Well, my
once
I mean,
once TJ gets his powers, Draken's done.
I hey, he jumped out of a spaceship. Okay, I think he kind of deserves that. I think Finster Five in the end is gonna off him. That's my.
J. Jarvis Johnson is a badass.
I will go with that. I think it's gonna be Finster Five in the end. Just he was the sleeper agent, and just it's gonna be Finster Five in the moment of glory, or
I
maybe
want to
the
know
Blue
more about
Centurion.
his backstory. Like, at what point was Draken like, let's take what's left of Alpha 5 and put them with Finster and create Finster 5? Like
Yeah,
Draken obviously needs friends, so he just built his own. I mean,
well,
that's one way to combat loneliness, I guess. I don't know.
you always have to have, rulers can't just rule by themselves. You gotta have those push around guys, the ones to make it seem like you have lots of power. So
That
perhaps
that
that's
gives the most powerful yet awkward hug in the history of comics.
and it was so crazy because that hug between Draken and Finster Five, remember it was juxtaposed with excuse me, it was Zach and Jason hugging after the funeral, and so
It was
you,
just it's I mean that was just so I don't want to say out of character because we didn't know the character of Draken at the time very much other than evil Tommy, but you look at Draken through these last couple of issues and you just like I didn't think that guy knew how to hug.
I I
Like
think
maybe
he's
he
just
needs
losing
needs
it.
more hugs or something or maybe you know
Yeah. What's up,
I
guys? Hello to everyone in chat. Also, try to keep up with that. Do you think Doc K might show up in Beast Morphers? No. I wish in my dreams, yes, but probably no. This comic was so entertaining. I freaking love. There's just so many. Here's one thing I love about it: Zordon and the floating head tube. Just I love the fact that in these comics, Zordon can just go anywhere, like just like a pocket Zordon head, and I love
it just
them.
threw me off that in various panels like there's just Zordon's head chilling over there. It's like
There is. So I flipped the page, so then I'll show like in reference to what I was talking about. But yeah,
I'm reading along in my digital copy in case anyone's curious.
yeah, no, I guess I should say okay. So TJ and Kelsey, the goats, are in the Draken's palace, and now we have rangers. Now we have lots of rangers, and it took me longer than I'd like to admit to figure out that
Well,
Trini, that
does
was
is
coinless
it
Trini in the command center.
is that Draken's palace or is that Rita's palace on the moon with like prison walls built around it?
Well, it was Rita's palace, but possession is 9/10 of the law, and
Oh, I know. I'm curious because
I'm not sure actually. I'm
his palace design on Earth is so similar to that one, or at least just in the brief shots that I've seen.
yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm just looking at the giant tower, and I kind of felt like that was on top of the moon base. Maybe I'm not really great with my. Oh no, that is totally just prison walls around Rita's palace.
Not
I
that I'm super familiar with what prisons look like, but
you never
I'm just
know. You never know. Okay, so they're finally having the powwow and the complete like meta-ness of the fact that they're in their pocket dimension, and of anything they make it sound. What they have it look like is, of course, the planning, the digital, like the big powwow before.
is this the same? And I'm not entirely sure. So anyone that's watching, if you know, if you're more familiar with the earlier days of Mighty Morphin lore, is that pocket dimension the same pocket dimension that Zordon and Alpha went into to make the White Ranger in the show?
Hmm, I don't know.
I know it was like a secret room on the show or something like that, but I always thought it
Yeah,
was like a
it.
pocket dimension because they could never find them or locate them.
I feel like Zordon should be able to just turn it off. Like he's that powerful. They could just be like, meh, I'm done. I don't want to be found. And Alpha, turns off GPS mode or something. There's a perfectly reasonable explanation for that.
There's no cell service in there.
There's obviously. Oh, let me get.
Shout out to the RJ fans, man. There's been some good shots of RJ these last couple issues. Jungle Fury, Wolf Ranger.
Oh, shout out Flutter Guy 98. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the sub. Yeah, I love just that RJ's there, and you kind of get this little thing. Like we don't see Coda in this one, which makes me sad. He's probably like trying to find whatever of like burgers and stuff in this pocket dimension, but RJ's, he's a leader. He's a master. We have him. We have Doggy. We have Lauren, Carter, Grayson. We have lots of good leaders in this. Maybe that's why Coda's not in it. But then Ken, see, I wander in my brain because then I'm thinking like, where's
keeping
Kendall?
track of Coda. I mean, they're in a different universe technically, I guess, a different dimension, what have you. You bring a caveman from the past into a different world. You got to keep an eye out.
That's true. That's true. So we finally get Ninjor telling us exactly what is really happening. Jen is the hey y'all seriousness. Crap is really really bad, and he's gonna break reality. And as Doggy Kruger adds, I love Doggy Kruger in this. As Doggy Kruger adds, and by the looks of it, he doesn't care. Dragon's just gonna destroy reality, and he doesn't care actually about it. So he is trying to amass all the power so that he may access the heart of the morphing grid itself. Possible in theory, however, no one's ever done it before. So Ninja goes on to say each Ranger team's morphers connect in the morphing grid in a slightly different way by adding the equivalent of more access points to his power set, which, anything about IT, more access points is clearly going to be the best way to do it. You don't want to be bottlenecked on your speeds. So with more access points, he's increasing his resonance with the grid, but the strain he's doing it, they're weakening the barriers between dimensions and worlds, which is, I guess, helpful because now they can get all these rangers for other worlds because everything is really weak. But, reality's dying.
I love what Kyle does with weaving all these different stories from the past year back into what's going on now, because I look at something like, what is the Morphin Grid? We've had different explanations and so forth, and the one issue I want to keep going back to and rereading, and I probably will at some point in the near future, is that free comic book day issue where Zordon goes and meets
yes,
with the three emissaries or whatever of the Morphin Masters.
Oh, their animation was so good.
Just kind of in the Morphin Grid or whatever. And I can't help but wonder with how much we keep going back, right? So something comes up in this issue or the last issue, and it harkens back to something 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 issues prior. I mean, obviously later on we get into Promethea gets brought back up again, which hasn't been talked about in a while. But all these little facets keep getting sewed together. Um, I'm curious when that free comic book day will come back and end up playing a pivotal role in understanding how things go the way they go. I guess I don't know. I'm willing to bet on it though. Like I'm willing to.
Yeah, I
I don't have any
think
money next to me, but
I I am as sad as I am that it will end. I'm excited to be once it's done to be able to reread all of it and just see how many more layers, like how much they built in a lot earlier that we just didn't pick up on, or maybe we didn't. I don't know. I like going back and reading something after it's ended because then you can really pick up all those other things, and it's a
so
nice way to.
Luis Martins asked a question, and I feel like we should answer.
Oh, yeah,
Probably
yeah.
probably because I'm a massive Gold Ranger fanboy. If people follow me on social, wanted to ask, who do we think the Gold Ranger is? Is it Jason? Is it Trey of Triforia? And my answer would be if you read the Mighty Morphin Annual that came out earlier this year, you would see that Draken goes into the Zeo timeline after the show technically ended. So after um, whatever the last episode was, I forget the title of it off the top of my head, but because the issue depicts Draken disguised as Zeo Red Tommy talking to Jason about why they're friends, blah 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 blah. Then Jason teleports away powerless, um, and then Draken does what he does to the Zeo Tommy of that era, so to speak. So my assumption would be on that huge reveal page towards the end, I believe that would be Trey because we don't see Zeo Green, which we know Adam lost his powers to Draken because he took the Morpher, and Zeo Red is dead. So that's why I would think it would be Trey and not a future alternate timeline Jason. Although that would be interesting.
But yeah, I would just have another Jason as they're looking at each other. Yeah, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Have no, I'm an idiot. Kim, of course, and Gogo. I was like, have any of the Rangers other than like the main coinless ones? I mean, I guess we haven't seen like how many other Rangers are in different? I don't know.
I can answer that question.
You okay?
Well, you got to finish the question though before.
Oh, well, I was just saying, how many other Rangers have met them another version of themselves? And I was like, well, we have MMPR guys with a coinless, and we have Kim with Ranger Slayer. But yeah,
I think that is technically it. I think the Ranger Danger guys have mentioned that Kyle has like a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet of like all the different Power Rangers he's using, where they're from, which character they are, if they're different, if there's more than one
I,
version of them, so that he can specifically avoid this, with the exception of the ones he plans out, which happens just a little bit later in this issue.
I would love to see that file. I would love if he had a giant, just a board, and like pictures of all the Rangers and having them like cross back and forth, and
I,
he's just
I could
sitting
see him
there
having
like,
like all the Ranger names on a like a dart board, and he just from the other side of the room chucks a dart, and he's like, "All right, that one's gone," and just
alright,
and that's how he
killing
decides.
him, saving her. Oh, can you imagine me like meet up with Kyle if I get to do an interview with him? I'll just like have a fishbowl full of names and be like, whoever he draws, be like, okay, that's the next, Well, of course he's not writing them anymore, but I'd be like, that's the next character you have to off. They'd still find a way to make it amazing.
Yeah,
What's up?
there's no doubt. I mean,
Hi everyone in chat. What's up? How long? Oh, no, Race. No, not that one.
how long until we get Shattered Grid inspired Power Ranger erotica? Give me 20 minutes after we're done with this. I'll write something up.
Okay, we'll hold you to that, but just not very close. Um, so here we have. Okay, so I'm gonna move to the next page. This is gonna be 5 hours long at this rate, but very entertaining, hopefully, because we're gonna do this until Toku Chris's son wakes up, probably.
Hour
Uh,
and 10 minutes. Go.
oh wait, if Rachel is for Angel, go prom queen. Thank you. If you guys have not seen it, I'm gonna have to like tweet it out again. But JR Hall of Horror made an awesome info or made an awesome graphic for me. If you guys are going to Power Morphicon and to prom, I've been nominated for prom queen. So we'll we're gonna have some fun with that. We'll see how that goes on Saturday. Um, I let's see. Coral Hardware. I wonder why Draken kept TJ and Kelsey alive. I maybe he's trying. Maybe he still wants to turn. I other than the fact that he's just probably sadistic and likes keeping people in cages, because why not? Um, do you think maybe he wanted to try more Evil Rangers? I mean, as a thought, like if he's kept them in there, he'd turn Kim evil with the Bow of Darkness. I mean, maybe he wanted to test out other Evil Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know A, who's still alive, or B, why he's keeping them alive. Um,
Oh,
so
but
I
that
I don't want to try to guess too much on that one because I don't like guessing and being like 150% wrong. But I
Oh no,
also
I
hate
always guess
I
and I'm
hate guessing and then
150%
like
wrong. That's
I hate
fine.
guessing and then being like 100% right. And people are like, "You knew." It's like, no, I didn't.
Well,
Um,
I called. If any of you guys are fans of Lupin Ranger versus Patch Ranger, I kept trying to make Hilltop being Lupin X a reality, and it just never happened. So
oh, that Hilltop needs at some point someone
I'm
just even for an episode, just give them something above Hilltop. We're getting off topic.
okay. We are getting off topic. So we see her in the first. No, actually, we don't see her in the first panel, but we do get Grace is back from Promethea. This was a big moment having Jason, and I guess maybe the like big moment of them talking comes a bit later, but we didn't. When last we left our heroes, and by heroes I mean Promethea, we weren't really happy with them, with the
They kind of
whole,
kept a secret that is kind of coming back to bite everybody in the ass right now.
just a lot. So they were the one that had Draken, and Draken escaped. Well, Saba went crazy also. So he I don't want to say like he got what was coming to him, but he let him escape, and now he's dead. So, speaking of, we're gonna get to the is are they dead or are they not dead in a bit once we get back to Dragon's Palace, but these
Can I just say in that panel where Jason's introducing Grace and Lauren standing there, holy hell, that's such a great like one little shot image of Lauren like standing like a boss, arms
oh,
crossed.
she
Like
absolutely
just,
does.
I love that look right there that Danielle did. Like that was, I'm
It
like if
the,
you can do like a full size poster version of that, that'd be hot. I mean,
it yeah, that would I love there's so much responsibility, there's so much like weight of the world on all three of those people's shoulders. And that they are kind of the ones that are like, Dot K isn't the one necessarily making the plan. She's sticking to. And I feel like people are sticking to what they know. She's doing the science, but like those three in that panel, and the fact that he's wearing the dragon shield because of Tommy, like it's just Grace has lost Rangers. Lauren's probably thinking she's lost Rangers. There is, yeah, it's. I really like it. I guess.
yeah, all three of them because Jason lost Tommy, Grace lost what three of the people on her moon mission. As
Hmm.
far as Lauren knows, she lost all five of her teammates and possibly her brother.
Yeah, yeah, and
So
that's
they're all people that suffered loss.
and really, and I mean Jen is in it, and yeah, they're all having quite a time. But Rangers are entering the command center. Kaboom! Pushing along. We get a crash landing, and that is Mr. Andros. Andros is crash landed
Cracked
at
helmet.
the cracked helmet, and then you get like the see-through helmet a little bit too with Corone, which is the I just keep saying wibbly wobbly timey wimey because I feel like that's all it is. Let me scroll through chat real quick. Who do you think Tommy's wife and Soul of the Dragon? Probably Cat. It's probably gonna be
Probably
Cat.
cat.
I mean, it's
So
canon enough.
it screams that they're following what is it? That episode in Zeo.
Yeah, Season to Remember or something like that.
Season to remember, yeah, it screams because you have Tommy's got a son and he's got a grandson. So I mean, it screams like they're jumping off that continuity.
Yeah. I believe Draken left anyone he found weak or not a threat alive, similar to how he kept Kim alive after the spell was broken. Why waste time killing off Rangers when you can rule over them? That's, yeah, that's also a really great possibility. Sup, Johnny? Oh yeah, and vote Jerry Hall for prom king from JR Hall of Horror. Uh, he crashes, and basically Andros just says, I know where he's keeping the survivors, and they run out to him. Before we cut to Lord Draken for quite 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 pages of
Some
Draken.
serious Draken exposition here.
So much Draken. So some people were talking about the page turn, right? Some people were talking about the page turn where you see other Rangers. To me, this right here with Draken and Skull was the page turn for me, where I was a very sad Ranger Liz.
Kyle is the master of turn page. I think he stated before somewhere that like that's how he writes the comics. Like he designs his comics to have that page turn moment where something happens after you turn the page.
He's very good at it.
As opposed to other writers now who are just literally trying to throw as much story as they can on every single page that you kind of lose that suspense when you turn the page. But I mean, twice in this issue, he like just you turn the page and you're like, you cringe at one point, and the other time you're like, fist pump in the air. But I love what they do for Skull. So if just to break the suspense, Draken snaps and breaks his neck and kills Skull, or we assume kills Skull. Pretty much breaking though. But
if you guys watch my reviews of this, you know that I really love Skull in these, and
what's really cool though, right? So there's different ways of saying it, but some people say like a hero's defined by how they react when they're put into an extreme condition, right, or an extreme circumstance, and they're pushed against the wall. That's when heroes come out. So in theory, you can sit there and argue that Bulk and Skull are actually heroes, not necessarily bullies, because look how they turned out in the Coinless universe, where they're literally fighting for survival, and rather than be villains like you would assume they would be based on their bully status, both in Go-Go Power Rangers and what we saw in the TV show. Skull's actually this huge giant hero that secretly infiltrated Lord Draken's army, gained the trust to become one of the elite Red Sentries, and literally gave his life to defeat Draken.
I actually, okay, so there is a thing, and I don't know, maybe you can. Draken's looking at something in his hand right before the thing with Skull, and I don't know what it is, so I'm going to show this. If one of you guys, what is he holding on to?
That's that crown that was above Ninjor.
Okay, sweet. Okay, thank you. I actually did not know what that was.
I didn't even realize until you just said it. The only reason I remember is because it's got what look like spikes on all 4 sides, and I remember that from the shot in the previous issue where it's above his head. It's got like the pink energy or whatever.
Okay, because I was like, I knew it had. I mean, it has something to do with him, and I don't know why I did not put 2 and 2 together to think that that's what it was. Draken absolutely is not happy. Let's just say it this way. Skull just stands up to him. This is Skull's big, and he comes in with the one-liner, right? So Draken's freaking out to his leader or whatever. He's like, do you have any idea what you've given them? Do you have any idea what they've taken from me? And Skull comes in with the quip, the key to beating you and finally tearing down this whole godforsaken nightmare down. Facing death. Going into this person he knows completely what he's capable of. He knows he's probably walking into his death, and he still does that to Draken. I love him.
I keep reading the quiet traitor line in the voice from the guy from Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Quiet traitor. Sorry.
Yeah. So Draken goes saying you believe that, and now even though it's cost you everything, so again they don't show his neck being snapped, but Draken's already saying it's going to cost you everything. You truly believe you've done the right thing. Skull, staring him down. You're damn right I do. How that that
Big
is
reveal. Draken's actually a hypnotist, and he snapped his finger and put Skull to sleep. We discovered that in issue 30.
you. Okay, but so the next thing we see though, guys, and this is why it's like, is the neck snapped? Is it not? It shows snap, but then it just shows Skull on the ground, and it shows the commander being put into handcuffs. Is the snap? Is the snap handcuffs? And maybe he just threw him down.
I don't think the Red Sentries would have like looks of disgust and like, oh my god, if they were just getting someone handcuffed.
I don't know. I think, uh, yeah, yeah. I
I'm
mean,
gonna stick with my hypnotist theory, and I just think that Draken's a magician and a hypnotist on the side because he has no friends because he's killed them all. So that's just how he's surviving right now.
yeah. It is kind of. I mean, if you're gonna kill someone, like, and he gloats to Kim, which is actually gonna be like the next thing we talk about, but he's not like a hands off leader. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty on killing people. And he is psychotic, and I think that's one of the things. Like, he is so corrupted with the morphing grid, he is so corrupted with power. This guy is will literally just grab like your trader and just snap the neck and be like, oh, sweet, Kim. If Skull was one of his most trusted, or higher up people, and he just lost him, he just lost Ninjor, and now
Skull will
he's
be rewarded in the afterlife with 72 Kimberlys.
Pin the comment. Pin the comment.
Wait, does this mean that Skull or that Spike doesn't happen in Coinless Universe now?
Hmm. I don't know. I don't know. We'll put him under the maybe category for who survived at the end. But yeah, so I mean, he's lost Ninja, he's lost Skull. He just learns that he's lost Kim, which we already knew about from Go-Go Power Rangers. But this is really cool that they're going to show you Lord Draken's side of things and how he found, like, his side of this conversation. And it shows Finster 5 in it. He's lost a lot of people very close to him. The morphing grid is really unstable. He is, I mean, he really is at wit's end. Like, would not be surprising that he does anything because he's just lost it completely. Yeah. So Finster 5 says we have some good news. We found Kimberly, but she's not where we can't get her back. She's not where we thought she was going to be, so we can't get her back. But they see each other, and we talked about this in the Go-Go one, but here it is, his side, and it's not necessarily Draken himself that notices it first that Kim is being a little different. It's Finster 5, and that could very easily be because, I mean, Draken just is a little preoccupied right now with snapping Skull's neck.
It really does paint Finster 5 out to be like this little devil on the shoulder, like whispering, like, what's going on? Why is this way?
Yeah.
It's not right. I mean, it's a total devil on the shoulder moment.
And the fact that he's out of frame because we couldn't see him in Go-Go since we only saw it from Ranger Slayer's perspective, to know that it's not just him, and it's like Finster 5 like trying to keep him together or like looking at things because he says this, I killed him, that world's imposter. I drove that wretched white tiger saber through his back and I watched him die.
Look at his face though when he's saying that. Like it's like J.R. Hall of Horror says, like he is gloating and proud of himself. Like he feels like he just eliminated an anomaly and he just served like the world righteousness by killing the imposter.
And and now he's just so happy. This look, and he was expecting her because she's evil. He was expecting her to have this fantastic, amazing, and yet she's like, are you sure that's a great idea? When did she leave versus when did like he go back in time? And
I think she went back. I don't know for sure, but I think she went back during the time when he was captured in Promethea, and she went. I don't know if
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
if
yeah,
that's right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think she went back to try to free him and went too far. I
You're
think
right. You're right.
because she
I
talked about saving my lord and things like that. So I always assumed that she was going back to save him from being imprisoned in Promethea, and time travel is hard, and alternate worlds are hard, and so she ended up back before Tommy even moved to Angel Grove. So
Yeah, that's a big brain fart on my part right there. Cause you started saying it, and I'm like, yeah, that's yeah, yeah.
well, I don't think they ever like said in the comic. And, like it was just as I don't even know if it was even written as like a flashback scene because it was in Go Go Power Rangers, and it was because it was like the last 2 pages of issue 8 or 9 or something. Um, when she was first revealed. Um,
Excuse me.
I don't I'd have to go back and look.
Um, he's yeah. So he decides that he's not gonna, worry about killing her, even though he finds out that she is indeed not evil anymore. Could he go? I mean, Finster Five just said like we can't get her back, so he's like, oh, I wouldn't leave you alive if I thought you could, stop my plan. But we also did learn that, I mean, maybe he's just gloating, but he can't go back.
JR Hall of Horror writes another good message in the chat. Basically says the best villains are the heroes of their own story. Draken truly believes that he's the only one who's seeing things clearly, putting the world in order, and these other Rangers are fighting for their world. So, like, dude, you're 100% correct. Those are the best villains and the most dangerous villains. The ones that believe what they're doing is right. The ones that believe they're the hero. Villains are boring when they know they're being evil and they know they're evil and they're saying they're evil. Um, those aren't the good villains. I don't like to read or watch those villains. Draken, like you said, um, he totally believes everything he's doing is justified and he's doing the right thing. He's trying to make a better world, save the world, um, and this is just a means to an end.
Does he? I mean, the Rangers are like he's gonna tear reality apart. He just wants to, he wants to access, like, get inside the morphin grid. How does he think the world's gonna end up after this? Which is always like the hindsight. We're like, like, what do you think? Who are you gonna rule over, dude? Like, you're killing everyone.
Well, I think we're still waiting to hear the why. Like, why does he want to access the Morphin Grid?
I don't
Like,
know. I just assume he
what?
wants to
I
really be
mean,
powerful.
is
But
it this the next step in his evolution to that he's the one who's going to save the world, and by having the most power, he can therefore assert the correct amount of justice and so forth. Like, you know, I don't know. I'd be
potentially,
curious to see.
exactly why? Yeah. Does he? Maybe he sees like the next great evil coming, and he alone must stop it. And I don't know. We think he's evil. He doesn't though. Uh, he wants to get more power from like all of these morphers and stuff. Go away, mine Liz. What? Your JS? Go away. I am. Leave now. Dude, I'm not really sure what you're going on about, but
It's cool.
I'm just gonna
We'll
take
just
off.
we'll just move on from that.
Yeah.
So you can tell. So obviously, Draken's in some pain as you go into the next page. He falls over, um, and then Finster tells him his body's tearing himself apart from all these different powers that he's combined into himself. And you referenced what he says about we have to act now, we have to act quickly, we can't risk that she might actually be able to affect something. Um, some that you tie it back into the rest of the issue, and it's kind of fun because now you have the Rangers, back on Earth in the command center, being like, "All right, it's go time. We're gonna take the fight to Draken's doorstep, and we're not gonna knock. We're just gonna kick the door down." And
And
and now you have Draken being like, "All right, it's no more games. It's time to finish this now. We have to get going. We have to move quickly."
it really all is just building up to.
And he goes on to explain. He says they have Ninjor. We must assume they know what they're attempting to do. Corinth women might be by their side. They'll have the means to combat our dragon cannons. We must move quickly to amass the morphers that we need. So he's done playing. It's no more like we'll take our time. I'm going to enjoy this. It is now. We have to finish this. And he even says we have it's everything will hold long enough to finish the job that needs to be done.
And where do we go from that after we find out from Draken? Draken's no more games. The Rangers, no more games. They are both just gearing up for this massive fight. And then we get our tech guys. Woo! Working.
Nerds.
Nerds! Working on the Morphers. That's awesome. Coinless Trini. Man, how is she
So
holding up right
you have
now?
Coinless Trini holding a Gosei Morpher. You have
Uh,
what looks like I see the SPD Morpher. Um, there's some work being done to Kira's Morpher, and I don't know
our
what that purple one
It's
is,
it looks slightly larger than it normally is in the show, but I believe that's RJ's wolf morpher.
which is weird because he's over there in wolf form.
Um, well, maybe they
Because
still have to tidy things up.
I first saw it, I thought it was the Dragon Ranger from Q Ranger. I was like, what?
That's
But I was like, oh wait, no, they
no.
use orbs. One of my Qtamas. But it's kind of cool because I have the digital version, so I can kind of zoom in a little bit, so I can see like who's hanging out on the balcony up above. Um,
Yeah, you
I
can.
can only make
Is
I
that
can only
like
make out. You
Gia
have
and
you have Gia, Kira, Scott. It looks like Tori morphed still, and I don't know who's next to Scott on the top or who's next to Gia on the middle one.
oh,
Someone with a hat.
hmm. You never. Rangers don't wear hats very often, except for Trip.
Well, part of me I thought it was Miss Fairweather for a second. I was like, what?
What? Oh, that would be. Didn't. Maybe it's. Yeah, regardless, this is just looking at the amazing artwork. We have in one of them, it's Doggy Kruger, Jason, Lauren, and Andros, and Zordon, just the big blue head. So we have these guys talking, and you hear from Andros himself that he knew TJ was alive, that they took him. He had been working on tracking down all of them, and they're on the moon base. So now the Rangers know not only like they have to get to the moon. There are more Rangers there. There are more people there that can help them. They just have to get to the moon. But Corone is seeing him, knowing everything. So Corone, remember, is from what, like a year
Like a year and a half,
ahead.
2 years ahead of time, and or however long Last Galaxy is between in space, which
Yeah,
it could be up to like 5 years or something. It's not necessarily a year,
true.
right?
But so
And
she has all of this knowledge of like what happens and how she's a ranger now. And Jen, of course, the master of like, don't mess up time, is just going, just go talk to him. At this point, just go talk to him. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? And they hug and they get a really nice moment that at least it's kind of working out fine. For
it's a total like it's a fan moment. It's a moment made for the fans, and I love that. Like what if Andros saw his sister in the future? Before he realized she was A, still alive, um, and B, that she was the villain the entire time. It's a neat. It's
yeah,
those little special things that I really enjoy about this book is that they don't have to do that kind of fan service. You don't have to keep Corone and Andros, and now we know why they picked Corone over Kendricks um, for the Pink Ranger Lost Galaxy, and why it's specifically stated like a couple issues prior when Jen's like, "Oh, you're not Kendricks. We
oh
must be
yeah.
further along in this timeline than I thought."
What's up? Thanks, Reese. If Ryu can become a ranger, when can Duke Nukem? He should get into RPM so he can be with the Boom family. That'd be fun.
Oh my
Everything is
gosh.
Boom. Thank you so much for the donation. Doggy Kruger and Zordon. This kind of gets to. There are a lot of page turns in this, as we've said, but ultimately they have kind of a moment to themselves where Zordon and Doggy, like Zordon goes over, we've lost a ranger, and they have a nice mentor to mentor moment. And who knew that I needed Doggy Kruger and Zordon interacting in my life so bad, but I needed that. It was amazing.
It's like two of the best mentors in the entire franchise, like just chilling together.
Yeah, with all and knowing like this is what's going to happen. They are preparing for battle, and they train their rangers, and after that it's up to them. Then you have a reconciliation with Grace and Jason, where he wasn't sure if she would show up. She wasn't sure if he was going to call, but as they said, reality is at risk. At some point, you just have to say, we have to get through this together, or we're doomed. Try to move my light real quick. Sorry, I'm a little dark. Jason gives us, though, this is an amazing way to draw Jason. There we go. Determination, just he's set. He's realizing more about I don't know. Well, this is actually what he says. Well, Zordon said something to me before everything with Saba that one day I might know what it's like to make the wrong decision for the right reasons. I didn't really understand what he meant, but I think I do now. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, Jason's totally. He's definitely turning into the leader that we all remember him being towards the end of his run in Mighty Morphin.
Gotcha. He's definitely. I mean, he went from when they were first picked, like, oh sweet. I don't know. It's just seeing more of the grizzled warriors, of people who have lost one. Oh yeah, and thinking actually of Doggy Krieger. Remember with the annual, I guess he was going against Astronema at the time, and I don't know, that just kind of popped in my head. Of he's so like law and justice, and he was campaigning against Astronema, and now he's working with Corone in this timeline because she is just a different person.
Well, Philly Superman even put in the chat, he said you get to see Doggy looking at Corone and Andros, and we see in the annual that he knows what Astronema was responsible for, what happened to his world and to his wife. And he's still. Maybe why he looks so pissed in every panel.
I just thought that was his face. Is just permanently is just stuck like that. Yeah, so it's terrible to lose someone. They're going on a rescue mission now. They're going on a rescue mission to the moon base because they're going to save the rest of the Rangers. They need everyone they can get.
But they need a ship.
They need a ship because the SPD ones aren't big enough. And Grace comes out with this right here. That is awesome. It is, well, I guess I should say, there's Corone going, that's our colony. That's Terra Venture. It's like, oh, that's what it ends up being called? How fantastic is that it's those little things, like, for the fans, these little bits of world building that they can throw in that just is absolutely amazing.
Well, yeah, now you know exactly where Terra Venture came from. It wasn't just this random spaceship that got built in a day, like you thought it did, I guess, in the show. Now you actually have a backstory to it, where it came from, what the future for it is. Or at least what the future for it was. So I don't know how you come back from this. Although I will say, and I don't think I'm right, but it'd be funny if they ended the Shattered Grid, or whenever they're done with this entire comic run. Because remember when it first came out, it was pitched as like, oh, it's taking place literally the day after Tommy becomes a Power Ranger, right?
Yeah.
So I always thought it'd be funny if they ended when Mighty Morphin Power Rangers ends, whenever it ends with Boom Studios, if they just put like the very last panel, to be continued in episode whatever, Shell Shock of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So all this takes place between Green with Evil Part 5 and Shell Shock.
That would, oh my goodness, that's a lot of stuff.
An ultimate troll.
That's a lot to add to the Ranger Wiki. Any news on the deluxe edition? Just that it's gonna be coming out in a year, and there's gonna be a special comic in it. Never before seen thing for Shattered Grid. Yeah, there's all kind of adults there with a lot more experience, but they all defer to him as leader. Philly Superman. Yeah, when I was talking about, we were talking about Jason, because it's, you kind of, it's that team, and people kind of just defer to that team's leader, and I guess that's where that is. What about the mega ship? Probably destroyed at this rate.
Well, we saw Draken on it, so I'm assuming he either has it or it's destroyed.
He just left it floating through space, empty. Why not? I mean, can you imagine like the shipping costs on that? Like he's not gonna try to get that thing back. Um, so yeah, this is how they're gonna take Terra Venture was like a spaceship, and that's how they're going to get to the moon base. But Alpha stops them. Speaking of Rangers, with the barriers weak and using the schematics of the Black Dragon technology, we've transmitted to them the other Rangers, or blah blah blah. The other Rangers are starting to arrive. It's time. They run out, they're not there yet. Alpha's like, but they say they've arrived. Well, maybe there's a temporary delay. Look from Trini, and then this is, I mean, you guys, I'm sure you've seen this in a million places because it's
The
that
most beautiful two-page spread.
it's raining Rangers. It's shooting stars with Rangers. How amazing. Just, it's hope, doesn't it? It kind of feels like hope. Like you finally think, okay, Draken's getting more dangerous because he's on the brink. The Rangers
And
have a plan.
major props to the colorist of this issue. I forget his name, please forgive me. But major props, because that... I mean,
Colorist, Walter Biamonte?
Walter, dude, like, seriously, I mean, if you look at the way they colored the night sky with some clouds in there and the pastel coloring, I mean, it's just, it's a beautiful, I would totally buy an oversized poster of that. Like, that is just amazing.
Absolutely. A poster of that is just the fact that they're helmetless in the night sky. It's absolutely gorgeous. I want that as a poster.
And then the most epic page turn, in my opinion, I thought this page turn was bigger than issue 25, The Death of Tommy.
Boom! Boom! Boom, boom, boom. You have reinforcements, my friends. You have reinforcements. I'm not gonna like list off all of them, but here's the first one. You're like, oh, okay, this is great. This is, wait a second! Wait a second.
Yeah, like the fourth row back, shit starts getting real.
It's one you're like, oh man, okay, like Phantom Ranger, and then they go, wait a second. They just decided to throw everyone off. Beast Morphers and Hyperforce are in the same row, just chilling, like with the rest. They're sandwiched between Zeo Pink and Yellow and Ninja Storm. Like they're just chilling. Like what?
And
what?
one random Operation Overdrive Ranger. Dax. Damn it, Dax.
No, why is it him? Hey, Udana's in it, which makes me happy because I'm a big fan of Udana. But behind the Ninja Steel, because they of course survived. Yeah, they survived. We have this little guy, just hanging out in the back there, like, hey, what up? Can't wait to find out more about him because he is Dark Ranger and he's going to be in Beyond the Grid. Where did he come from? Why is he here? Why doesn't he have friends? And maybe someone should invite him to the front. So many questions. How is the Hyperforce? It's one thing I actually asked for the Ranger Danger podcast. How hard was it to get Hyperforce in this comic? Because it's not just like
it's not like an exclusive cover that you can pretty much do anything you want to with.
And kind of
this is actually in the comic now. Like now, I'm curious: are they gonna? I would be surprised if we don't see Beast Morphers after this, like maybe in a panel or something like that. But I would be surprised if we saw dialogue from them, only because they haven't even started making that show yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think that Saban or Hasbro now would tip their hat that much. But I'm curious to see if they would allow dialogue with Hyperforce as opposed to just like a cameo shot.
And I mean, they just had the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive cover too, where they were helmetless. So it's all like, that's it. Like, it is them. They are, canon to whatever canon the Hyperforce is, canon to whatever canon the comics are, and it's the actual people. I think it was last year, whatever, I was saying, like, Peter Sidarso was having the best year ever. It may be still this year. I don't know.
Right? I mean, technically he's in two suits in this shot.
He is. How crazy is that? So he is someone, maybe, that is another version of themselves. Um, they're
It's so
gonna
fun
need a
to get
bigger
like
room.
a helmetless red Hyperforce Ranger and a helmetless Ninja Steel Blue Ranger talking to each other.
Just going,
That'd be great. I would I would clap for that.
I would. Actually, wait a sec. You know what we didn't think of? Joe, she, the green one, and Coda survived.
Oh, that's right. Oh,
So both
we have
of
four
these, we have
Sudarsos.
four Sidar. Can the Morphin Grid handle that much? Can it handle
That
four? Can the fandom
can
handle four Sidarsos at once? It's too much hype.
that can that can you handle four Sudarsos at once?
No, no. Oh, what's up, everyone in chat? Charlie for it. Database Rangers reviews. What's up? Thanks for running in.
Hey, database, what's up, dude?
Be surprised if Beast get on any of the dialogue. Yeah, I I think yeah. If anyone got something, it'd probably be Hyperforce. But
Do you guys want Hyperforce like to have dialogue and get character growth? Like, because we don't know if season two will happen or not with the change from Saban to Hasbro and all that fun stuff. Do you guys want Hyperforce to have dialogue and have some character exposition and some action and stuff like that? I'm curious.
I would like to see as Hassan. What up, Hassan? He's in. Make sure you're following him.
So
And
Sudarso.
hashtag Sidarso Grid. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'd take anything that goes Hyperforce. It would be too niche. I would say, oh, they should just if they can't do it in Hyper RPG, they should do a comic. But if they're not, if Saban, ooh, that's gonna be weird. If Hasbro doesn't take them on for a season 2 on a D&D live stream on Twitch, I don't think they're gonna make a comic book on them.
Now, I did see some people asking questions, and so
Head back to
not
those for a
not in
bit.
chat, but like on Twitter and stuff. Magna Defender, standing second row back. Is that like angsty? My son is dead, Magna Defender, or is that hey guys, I control a ship, Mike, Magna Defender?
Uh, all should be revealed. Will we find out who Phantom Ranger is?
I think that's the mystery that will continue to be a mystery for the rest of the brand's lifetime.
Some things. Let me pop that link back up. Maybe, wait, hold on. Thank you, Kendra. Force says one Liz, it writes itself. It would just be me in the middle doing.
Let's go back to that Shattered Grid slash fiction.
That's, no. No. No.
Four Sudarsos.
I would, yeah, I'd be in my Super Mega Force costume, just be going, hand me over your keys. Now.
It's strange that I want Peter and Yoshi to have their own panel at Power Morphicon, just the two of them. And depending on the questions that get asked, they change their hats from like the color blue to color red and green.
Oh my god. I would totally be watch a
like a
panel with
little
just the two of
homemade
them.
banner on the background that says like Power Rangers Ninja Steel / Dino Charge, and when someone asks a Hyperforce question, someone has to run back there and spin it around. So this is Power Rangers Hyperforce, and then have to spin it around again.
It,
Like that would be the most entertaining panel in the world, I think.
that would be like Vanna or just someone with like pieces of poster board, like for their backgrounds, and they have to change them out.
Change jackets or something to get the right color. Little things, stupid things like that make me laugh and make me want to go see something. So
I would totally go see all of them. I'm super excited for hopefully a Hyperforce panel at PMC. If there's not, we riot, and if there's not, we're just gonna make one ourselves. I think I think that's for some reason PMC doesn't have a Hyperforce panel, which would be the dumbest thing ever. Maybe Chris will just invite everyone to the bar, and we'll host our own Hyperforce panel.
I like how I'm the default alcoholic, yet I don't drink anymore. Like
I had to think of a place that could host a lot of people for a panel, and it would not in my room. Not I'm gonna have
I
no
have a
space in my
balcony
room.
in my room, so that's not safe. Database Ranger does comment. He says he thinks it's Mike as Magna Defender since that would match up with Corone being the pink Lost Galaxy Ranger. Otherwise, you're looking at fracturing within the specific seasons, which would just become a nightmare. So
It would become a nightmare, but it would also, I mean,
That would make total sense. I mean, I get maybe we'll find out later. Maybe, well, obviously we will by Beyond the Grid, hopefully, unless they never have Dark Ranger or Magna Defender take their helmets off. But
That would nah. Yeah. What up, guys? What up, Matt?
oh, technically that's right. Super
That's
Samurai.
yeah, Super Samurai one.
Yoshi's also Silver Time Force. So 5 Sudarsos?
So wait, if there's 5 Sidarsos, do I get to be the 6th Ranger? I would. I think that I would be the 6th Ranger. We have multiple page turns. So you have the Skull Neck Snap page turn. You have the Rangers falling out of the sky page turn. You have the fact that Beast Morphers and Hyperforce and Dark Ranger are and then just are in the comic right now. We get to deal with that. But then we have another one. They're all happy. The Rangers are outside. But where Doggy, Kruger, and Zordon go somewhere, guys. And I'm probably going to ask you on this, Chris, because I'm not sure what base, what dimension, I'm not sure where this happens. But Zordon and Doggy Kruger are going somewhere, and it's, this is Zordon. It is this aspect that I have spent many hours toiling over, seeking all possible solutions. In this, I believe I have found a solution. Zordon thinks he has a solution, and it's them, and this is probably going to be, you're like, where are they? And wait a second, and I didn't notice it the first time. The foot soldiers. What is going on? Doggy Kruger, boy, I certainly hope you know what you're doing. You must have faith, Commander Kruger. After all, it's Rita! After all, she might be our only hope. That's your page turn, folks.
It's the most evil-looking squat I've ever seen in my life, and it terrifies me.
They absolutely Squat, Babu, Finster, like they're all kind of doing that sit back, like, now what? So, okay, that is where they were. So that technically is, like, the comic itself. And we have been doing this for an hour. But I'm not ready to stop yet. Where is she, first off? Is it the moon base? Is it a secondary base? Is she in a pocket dimension prison cell? Where in the world is Rita right now that they're going to visit her? And is it going to be, like, the Green Dragon coin? Is it going to be some weird Satan magic? Guys...
My assumption is that they're on the moon, only because of like all those gear clocks you see above, and then you have like the corridor, and then Squabble and Finster all there, and she's on a throne.
Yeah.
Which isn't that Zed's throne?
Yeah, I think.
So my assumption is they're on the moon.
But where? Because so like, does Draken have a moon base? Like, where are the prisoners? And I think I'm really bad with locations, and so...
My assumption would be they're in the coinless universe. Because I don't think Draken conquered the moon in our universe. I think he conquered it in the coinless universe. So my assumption would be that if he's keeping prisoners, he's probably keeping them in his dimension.
That's true, because he is just crossing dimensions and not really caring right now.
Yeah, like there's now Rangers are crossing on their own. So...
So many page-turning amazing things. And yeah, and I admittedly don't really even read the New Centurion and Ninja comics as much, because by the last page I just go, but... So...
Why do you think they're going to Rita? Why is Rita their last hope? Or their only hope?
The only thing I think of is she was the one who successfully took the Green Ranger powers with the green candle, and maybe...
But they don't know that because that hasn't happened yet. I mean, I guess some of these people in their future would know that, but...
That's true.
I mean, that green candle has to come back into play at some point, otherwise why introduce the Wizard of Deception so many issues ago?
And, yeah. Oh, man, I forgot about that. Chris, you're blowing my mind.
Well, that's because when this whole Shattered Grid started, as soon as they showed, even before it started, like whenever they showed the Wizard of Deception and the schematics for the green candle, and then Shattered Grid was announced and it started happening. I forget who it was. There's someone on Twitter because I remember I quoted him. I'm like, all right, if this, I guarantee you this has to be legit. This has to be the reason that the green candle would somehow come back to play to somehow do something to Draken. And I don't know. I mean,
Well, I
I don't
wouldn't.
know. I don't know where Kyle's taking this. Like,
It's because it's not like, okay, if they try to resurrect or go back to find the other Tommy, like one Ranger isn't going to make a difference unless they think, Draken would like combust with another one in the same world. I don't know. I'm actually getting back chats real quick. She should be back on the moon base, I would expect. Draken has moon base, yeah. So database was also kind of confirming that. Super Samurai Rita's in the main timeline moon base, and Draken with the captured Rangers on the moon base in the coinless world. What's up, Mark Satsu's in here too? What's up, man? There's so green candle, man. It's all about to summon Lord Zed.
they're gonna summon Haim Saban with this. No.
Oh god, no. Database, good point. Zorda might not know about the green candle, but he would expect Rita to have a countermeasure on her own creation. That's true. That's true. Another super chat. Wouldn't there also need to be a white candle? At this rate, with all the powers he has, somebody call up Crayola. We need candles. We need lots and lots of candles for powers.
Well, I think the important thing to remember is, like, how are these powers working together? Is it they're all meshing together into one new power, or are we seeing like layers stacked upon layers? Because it's not like his form is changing drastically every time he gets a new power. It's more like just a new little feature gets added to his suit.
Yeah.
So if they're going to take the Green Ranger out of the equation by using the green candle, wouldn't that kind of be like, if you remove the bottom layer of something, like, I don't know where I'm trying to get at, but you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Like, if the Green Ranger is the glue that holds it all together, it's the bottom of the stack. You pull the bottom of a stack out, usually that causes a stack to fall, right?
That's true. And hopefully.
I mean, that's the only thing, and that's the only clue I think that we've seen, is that we're not seeing, he absorbs Zeo, and it's not like suddenly he's got splotches of, whatever colors, the green Zeomorph or the red Zeomorph or whatever he's got on his suit. He just has like a Zeo design on top of his dragon shield, which has the White Ranger powers on top of that, which is, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all layers. Everything is layers.
And underneath, everything is a layer, and they're gonna peel them back. But as I've said before about myself, I'm like an onion. I have many layers. All of them will make you cry.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Super Samurai I love that. I love this comment. He goes, I wish the 2 little page comics at the end were, instead of 2 random comedic characters, it could be 2 of Draken's sentries going through different worlds, and we find out how Dax is the only Operation Overdrive Ranger to survive. I love that. I would read the hell out of that in a heartbeat, because I would love to see how Dax, out of all of them, is the only one to make it.
Why is it Dax?
I never even thought about that. Like, I saw it when I read the comic. I was like, oh, there's Operation Overdrive. I never stopped and like, oh, that's Dax. And then,
why?
That's Dax. Like, I get he was like a stunt man, like, in Operation Overdrive, but still, like, I would have figured Dax would have been the first one.
Well, he was cannon fodder. They could have just let him out to test the waters.
They say, like, if you're running from the bear, you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than the slowest guy running from the bear. I would have thought the rest of his teammates would make sure he was the slowest one running from the bear, in this case, Draken. So
maybe he was the idiot who stayed behind, and so they all fell, and he was like, crap. And then, Zordon calls, and he's like, I really have to take this. What's up? I survived.
It is saying that there's only one member from Operation Overdrive there. Just one.
It's not, yeah. What's up? So what's up, Trekkie B47? For being in here. Think of a house of cards. Green Ranger is the basis of Draken's Candle. Yes. Rainbow candles. Always bunch of rainbow candles. Roblox. I do not play Roblox. Grace still has the Psycho Green Dagger too. That would be cool.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That would be.
I forgot that she's got the Psycho Green Dagger. I
Uh,
want to now.
J.R. Hall 4, it makes sense. I mean, he does use his OG morpher just still to morph, but the green and white powers are meshed together. Does he even have to morph anymore? I just feel like he is so in with like the grid and energy itself that he can probably just do it now. Whenever he wants. Dex saw what was going on. I was like, I'm gonna bounce. He can jump really good. I watched Operation Overdrive during Ninja Steel, and I just gotta say, when you binge watch it, it's not as bad as people made it out, but I did still want to punch Dax in the face. Like every.
Operation Overdrive was horrible for its time. Unfortunately, we live in a time now where you can look back on it fondly because you can see it makes today's shortcuts or today's shortcomings much more apparent than what we considered shortcomings back then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the first few that I watched. I was like, oh man, but
I mean, even look at Samurai today versus Samurai when it came out.
I,
I mean,
I have still yet to fully watch Samurai and Super Samurai. I watched Shinkenger and Samurai was airing, and I watched like the first few episodes, and I was like, this isn't right. But I think now that it's been so long since I've watched Shinkenger that I should go back and watch Samurai because I probably don't remember most of
you know,
the plot and stuff. I can actually just go and maybe enjoy it for Power Rangers.
Database Ranger being here, it made me think of one character I haven't seen yet. Where do you think Robo Knight is?
The dry cleaners.
Is he hanging out with Troy somewhere? Like
he is protecting Troy with his life. He is just literally her life. Well, I mean, we have Gia.
Troy's in a prison cell, and Robo Knight's just like using his body as a barrier to make sure that no one hurts Troy.
It's the forbidden love, Chris.
He's still alive. We saw him in the legendary battle. He's still alive.
But yeah. So, but Gia is there, and she's there in is it Megaforce mode? So she was one of the only ones who came, like, they rescued her. So potentially where some of the other ones might have been captured or killed. I don't know. I don't think Troy would have gotten, well, first off, a ranger never lets go of their weapons. So if he's still alive, he has his weapon in his hand. Obviously. You know what, Megaforce, I still am like, maybe I should go back and rewatch it. Maybe with different eyes, and I still can't.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready for that.
Hey, speaking of Operation Overdrive, when does Thor show up in the comics? That would be. It was the things like that in Operation Overdrive, like with Thor, and even those silly ones. There was still a charm to them that, yeah. Oh, they haven't addressed Super Megaforce. What about Orion? That's a good point.
That's the thing we don't know because Super Megaforce was a power up for Megaforce, so we don't know. I guess we won't know until, if they ever show them using Super Megaforce or something, if they use the power up, because it's a power up for them. It was
That's
never
true.
a new suit, it was a power up. So we don't know what point in the timeline, because Megaforce was still like the base mode and Super Megaforce was the power up mode. So until we actually see them in a battle, we don't know, because otherwise they're missing technically Super Megaforce because Orion's not there. Or Robo Knight, whatever.
Or Robo Knight. Yeah, maybe the dimension they were in was before Robo Knight even showed up. Potentially, right?
Yeah.
See, Gia and Noah may be all the survivors on Megaforce dimension. Poor Robo Knight. If Robo Knight didn't make it, he went down with a very, very rappy fight. Can we get Robo Knight and Pumpkin Rapper together, please?
Oh God. No.
Yes, I think that is what we need. How
someone needs to cosplay as Robo Knight, and then someone needs to convince Kyle Higgins to freestyle rap with whoever's cosplaying as Robo Knight on a panel.
Life equals made. I feel like I need to rewatch some things before PMC, like the Shattered Grid, or maybe even for Shattered Grid, not PMC, but like that Hyperforce episode. I feel like I really do need to rewatch it and kind of figure out where things were in it.
There are Hall of Horror ads.
What?
Robo Knight will just randomly show up with no explanation and battle for the rest with the rest of them in the ending. And then he's like, "Oh wait, no, that was Super Mega Force." It could be that could be the running gag for all team ups going in the future. Is Robo Knight just randomly appears with no explanation and has one line with the Red Ranger of the season, and then that's it. I would, Power Rangers needs a new trope. I think that's a great trope to add. Is Robo Knight just magically being alive and present in every team up battle with no explanation given?
But Chris, there's a simple explanation for that.
Exactly.
There's never an explanation for that. Um, okay. I think we've been at this for almost an hour and 20 minutes so far. So, do you want to wrap it up with anything, or this is fun, but frankly, I'm really sweaty and I need to get air conditioning back on and a fan on me and
I've just had a
eat.
fan going and have a miserable microphone experience, and then I don't care because I'm comfortable. Um,
What where can okay, so I guess where I'm not good. I This is the first time I've ever had someone on my channel. You realize that, Chris? You were the
Holy crap!
first
No.
person I have ever done a live stream. Like I've hosted a live stream having on. You were the first person I actually did a collab with. Like
Well,
people have
thank
asked
you for
me,
having
but
me on. I mean, it was a random conversation at like 1 o'clock in the morning,
it really
and you're like,
was.
"Hey, is anyone around tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm around."
Anyone want to talk some Shattered Grid with me?
Well, I want to say like this. I hope people spend time like if you're loving Shattered Grid and you're obviously a huge Power Rangers fan, like get your friends who may not be Power Ranger fans but are comic fans, get them into this comic because as a fan of Power Rangers and a fan of comics, the one thing I love about this is that it's not necessarily relying 100% on your knowledge of Power Ranger characters to get into the comic. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to. It definitely helps if you watch the entire freaking franchise, like some of us have. But if you just watched the Mighty Morphin as a kid, but you still love comics, like this is a huge stepping on point that you could get a lot of people involved in this comic and reading it. It's a great piece of work that I mean, it's obviously one of the best comics. In my opinion, I always link it back to how stoked I was way back in the late '90s with X-Men: Age of Apocalypse. It really feels like an X-Men: Age of Apocalypse event. Um, and for those who don't know about that, that was when Xavier's kid went back in time to kill Magneto. Oops, screwed up, killed Xavier instead. Rewrote history, and Apocalypse conquered the Earth and turned heroes into villains and killed everybody else. And it's about them correcting it and getting
My
back
bad.
to reality. So very similar idea, so to speak, um, but with characters you know and love from TV from the last 25 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't praise what Kyle, Danielle, Ryan, Dan Mora, um, and then Walter coloring, colorist on GoGo. They're all doing a fantastic job, and I will be very sad. And I'm excited for Beyond the Grid. Don't get me wrong, but I will be
Mhm.
sad to know that there's technically only two issues left: issue 30, and then the Shattered Grid one
Yeah.
shot issue.
Cause
Then it's all over. Then it's you know then we have to see why there's only 6 Rangers left and why they aren't Mighty Morphin Rangers.
yeah, absolutely, and I love it. I kind of likened it to, I mean, like a Sentai or something in your head, or season of Power Rangers. It's you absolutely love it, and you're so sad to see it end because you
Yeah,
love the story and love the characters. But at the same time, it's like Kamen Rider Build right now. I'm so sad to see it end, but I'm so excited for the next one. That I'm as bummed as I am that Shattered Grid is ending. What in the world is going to happen that has those 6 Rangers going on a mission against? And we actually did get today the preview for it, drawn together from across space and time to combat a never before seen evil. These Rangers will need to prove themselves and each other that they have what it takes not just to survive in a dangerous new environment, but to defeat the oncoming onslaught of an unfamiliar, terrifying new villain. By the way, that came out today. Uh,
yeah. I mean, how do you top Shattered Grid? And I guess the only answer is we're about to find out.
Yeah. You do something
You
very.
know,
You don't go back to the status quo. I think they changed the status quo for what a Power Ranger comic can be.
I swear I saw in an interview Kyle said when I think it was when they announced that he was leaving the book. I want to say he had said like it's not like they're not ending this Shattered Grid event with a big reset button.
I love that. I love that.
And I love that there's actually going to be consequences and there's going to be carryover and that and not that I'm excited the character is dead, but it does sound like Tommy is not necessarily coming back to life, at least not right now, which would be uh, which would be the
Huge.
obvious Saban brand's answer to hey let's kill Tommy is okay well how do we bring him back. um,
Let's see what. It's just Hasbro's world now.
well it is well
Well, it's. I
it's
mean,
Saban.
it's.
Saban brand's part of Hasbro
That's
Incorporated
true.
now, but I do love the fact that they're allowed the edginess and so forth to take full effect, and I think it's been incredibly rewarding for readers. And I keep track of the sales numbers, and they've been steady and climbing every month
Love
for
it.
these comic books, which is huge. I mean, I always laugh because Transformers is a huge franchise, right? Obviously, it's Hasbro's
Mhm.
super billion-dollar baby franchise. Um, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is outselling the comic books for Transformers by a 3 or even 4 to 1 ratio. Um,
That's fantastic.
so props to the Ranger Nation fandom for supporting this book.
Well, it's easy when it's so good.
Power Morphicon, just go up to Kyle, go up to Ryan, and just take a $20 bill, go to the front desk or whatever of the hotel, get some ones, just go up and just start make it rain on them. Just
can we do that together, Chris? And I'll vlog it.
sure. And when security escorts us out, we can live stream exactly
We
what
can.
happened.
Ah. Oh man. Okay, I have had a blast, but Chris, let everyone know where can they find you if they want to continue this awesome conversation with you.
Sure. My address is
Oh, I
see,
meant
how
your
about
social
this?
security number, but that's whatever.
Oh,
Fine.
it's
You can do Twitter.
53964. You can find me on Twitter at Toku Chris. I have other stuff, but that's really the one I am most
I do have links
active
below,
on,
by the
so to
way.
speak.
Lazy, and you don't even want to like
Um,
type it out.
so I mean, yeah, I love talking comics. So if you're on Twitter, shoot me a tweet. I would love to. I don't want to use the word fantasize, but theorize. Will say what happens next, how this is going to end, and exactly what way we can shower praise and/or dollar bills on Kyle and Ryan at Power Morphicon
Yeah,
without getting kicked out of the show, and without people diving over tables to grab $1 bills.
that's
I'm thinking maybe Monopoly money. I don't know.
okay. Okay, I have an idea. I'll talk to you about that later.
Cool.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. This has been a really long live stream. This is the longest I've ever reviewed a comic, but holy crap, has this been fun. Thank you to everybody for tuning in, hanging out, chatting. Thanks for any donations, and wow, yeah, just thank you to everyone. And big, of course, thank you to Chris for coming on.
Thank you for having
I,
me. It's been fun. I've drained all. I'm down to 13% battery in my laptop. So congratulations. You
all
took off
right.
87%, 88% now. Thanks everyone for watching and chatting on the live stream. That was fun.
This has been a
Love
blast.
seeing familiar faces. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to Paramorphicon, I look forward to meeting every single one of you because,
Yes, we
that,
will.
that's what PMC is about. It's not so much. I mean, it is, but it's not so much for me, anyways. About the actors or the special guests. It's about hanging with the people you talk to on the internet for a year, or in this case, 2 years, and then actually getting together in person, being able to hang out. That's what makes it fun for me.
Oh,
I'm looking forward for doing that. Is it the last Paramorphicon? I don't know. We'll have to see. But if it is, let's go out with one hell of a bang. That's all I gotta say.
absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining, everyone, and we'll see you at the something later. I don't know.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye, guys.